You're listening to Spring River Chronicle. Audio on the go.
Beef Jerky Bandits by Thomas Estes, read by Kent Lepley.
First National Banking Company. Get checking that pays with Super Plus Checking at FNBC.
On the morning of June 29th, it was discovered that the glass in the rear door of the Old Time Candy Shop in Hardy was broken into. Hardy Police Chief Ernie Rose was called. At 8:20 a.m., he notified the owner, Judy Raspberry, of the incident. She sent an employee to meet Chief Rose at the store. The rear door appeared to have had the glass broken out. The intruder or intruders had apparently reached through the broken glass and unlocked the door. The broken glass was on both the inside and the outside of the building. According to Chief Rose, upon entering the store, he came upon the following scene. The soda cooler lid was left open, and in front of the counter on the floor were packages of beef jerky strewn about. Also, there were 2 empty boxes of beef jerky lying on the counter and 2 empty carry-out bags lying on the counter. The tip cup was turned over, lying beside the cash register. Both cash register drawers were standing open and contained miscellaneous amounts of change, including some that were still in rolls and appeared not to be disturbed. The cash held over from the day before was located in the store where it should have been and also appeared to have not been disturbed. Later on that morning, a tipster called Chief Rose to tell him that 2 young boys drove past the candy store on a 3-wheeler, and when the boys went past, they looked up at the store and began laughing. This struck the tipster as unusual. That afternoon at 12:45 p.m., when Chief Rose was patrolling the Jackson Farm area, he saw a blue Dodge truck, but could not read the license plate number because it was caked with mud. Chief Rose called the property owner and told her what he had found and inquired whose truck it was. The property owner and 2 boys met Chief Rose at the truck, and the property owners said she did not give anyone permission to park there. Chief Rose explained that he could see property inside the cab that he believed to be from the Old Time Candy Shop burglary. The 2 young boys then explained to Chief Rose that the previous night they were near there with the truck's owner and Jordan Sprinkle. The boys both left shortly after midnight, but did not see any jerky or soda like was in the cab of the truck that morning. Officer Hutchinson arrived and stayed with the truck and evidence while Chief Rose went to pick up the suspect, who was believed to be at Al Capone's garage in Hardy. According to his police report, Chief Rose asked the suspect for identification. He said he did not have it. That was in his driver's side door of his blue Dodge truck out on the Jackson farm. Chief Rose explained to him that he'd found what he believed to be stolen property in that truck. According to Chief Rose, he then advised the suspect of his rights. The suspect said he understood his rights. Then the suspect told Chief Rose the reason that they got the items because they were hungry. When they arrived back at Jackson Farm, Chief Rose learned at the time the suspect was a juvenile. According to Chief Rose, I had the vehicle impounded by Bill's Towing, and I transported the juvenile to Hardy Police Department, where I contacted the juvenile's guardian. Chief Rose went on to say that after the juvenile's guardian arrived, Chief Rose informed the minor of his rights again with his guardian present, and he and she both signed a form acknowledging they understood those rights. The juvenile then gave a detailed confession of how he and Jordan Sprinkle committed the crime. The juvenile was cited for commercial burglary theft and placed under house arrest.
You're listening to Spring River Chronicle. Audio on the go.
Renovated Park hosts bike rally by Thomas Estes, read by Kent Lepley.
First National Banking Company. Get checking that pays with Super Plus Checking at FNBC.
Griffin's Park, located between Cherokee Village and the highway near the Beach Club, has recently had a major overhaul. Years of neglect have been cleared by Greg Griffin to make way for his upcoming Spring River Bike Rally. Griffin's Park had fallen into disrepair from decades of neglect. Years of floods and debris had taken their toll on the park, and much of the park was unusable. But after the floods earlier in the year, Greg Griffin decided to act, and he rolled up his sleeves and began to set to work fixing up the park. The playground equipment has been replaced with new, safer equipment. Trees have been uprooted and cleared, fences mended and repaired. A stage has been installed for performances as well as bath facilities for campers. All in all, Griffin's Park has undergone a remarkable transformation in a very short time. And it's a good thing, too. This week it marks the opening of the Spring River Bike Rally at Griffin's Park. The bike rally is 3 days of food, fun, festivities for the 21 and older set. According to Griffin, he has advertised the event across the Mid-South. We've advertised on Jonesboro Radio, sent out flyers to over 100 Harley shops in 8 states. We've got a Batesville radio station running an ad. Basically from Nashville to Dallas to Kansas City, St. Louis, that circle, Memphis, Oklahoma City. Speaking about the effect on the area, Griffin said, if you have just 5 or 6 or 10,000 people coming in here, that's going to be good for the community. The Spring River Bike Rally is on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Gates open at noon on Friday. Armbands cost $30 per person or $40 per couple and are good for all 3 days. Local bands, a poker run, and a dice toss will be among the events. You must be 21 to enter, no minors allowed, so bring ID. This promises to be a truly unique event in Spring River history.
You're listening to Spring River Chronicle. Audio on the go.
Boating in Arkansas. Are You Legal? By Sheila Roberts. Read by Kent Lepley.
First National Banking Company. Get checking that pays with Super Plus Checking at FNBC.
One of the most relaxing forms of outdoor recreation is boating. That is, if you've done all the necessary preparations beforehand. To make your boating experience in Arkansas a good one, make sure you know the boating laws. The first requirement to operate a boat in Arkansas is to have a boater education certificate. Anyone born on or after January 1st, 1986 and of legal age to operate a motorboat must have successfully completed an approved Arkansas Game and Fish Commission boating education course. The boater education certificate must be carried on board with you while operating a motorboat on Arkansas waters. The law also affects operators of sailboats and is required for non-residents as well. There are 2 ways to complete the Arkansas Boating Education course requirement. You can either take an instructor-led class for free or take the course online at www.boated.com/Arkansas. For the online class, the fee is $24.50, but it is only collected once you pass. For a schedule of the times and places for the free classes, go to the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission at www.agfc.com and follow the link under Education to Boating Education and then to Boating Education classes. The class is approximately 6 hours, either all day Saturday or spread over several evening sessions. Once you complete either class, you're required to take the exam in person at an Arkansas Game and Fish Commission testing site to receive your Arkansas Boater Education Certificate. To make an appointment for the exam, call Dennis Dunderdale at 870-321-5548. Once you have your Boater Education Certificate, you also must have an Arkansas Certificate of Number and validation decals on the boat in order to operate a motorboat or sailboat on Arkansas's public waters. The only exceptions to this law are boats that are not propelled by an engine or a sail, and boats already properly registered in another state and using the Arkansas waters for 90 or fewer consecutive days, and vessels documented by the U.S. Coast Guard. When you register your boat, be sure to take with you proof of ownership, a current registration or bill of sale, proof of personal property assessment, and proof of insurance for motorboats over 50 horsepower. You must apply for registration within 30 days of the date of the purchase of a motorboat. Keep your proof of purchase with you while operating your motorboat until you receive your Arkansas Certificate of Number. These are valid for 3 years. Navigation lights are required for operation between sunset and sunrise. The requirements vary by boat type and size, so be sure to check with the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission for details. Personal flotation devices must also be on board for every person on the boat. All water skiers are also required to wear a PFD. Many people don't realize that the boating laws of Arkansas are enforceable not only by the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission officers, but also by all state and county law officers as well as local law enforcement. If a police officer of a local city along the river were to witness someone consuming alcohol while operating a motorboat, for instance, that officer is required to apprehend the boat operator. Any of these authorities may stop and board your vessel to check that you're abiding by the law and you must follow their directives. For more specific information about Arkansas boating laws, you can call 1-877-297-4331 and request a booklet from the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. There's already been several tragic accidents this summer, and with still more than half the boating season left, we all need to follow these boating rules as well as common sense to enjoy the many recreational activities on the Spring River's area's lakes and rivers safely.
I was about 17, I guess, 17 years old. I'd been out that night at town. I was coming in probably midnight. I was going about a half mile from the house on 9 Mile Ridge. And I was going along and something in front of me, what looked like somebody, and it kind of went across the road swinging its arms, looked like, and I said, what the world was that, you know, and it jumped the ditch, and there's an old wet weather spring where it jumped, and it just jumped it and right out through the brush there. So I was at the house there just a minute, and I talked to Daddy. I told him about that. I told him about it, you know, how it did jump the ditch, and it kind of just looked like some big old guy, you know. And so Daddy said, well, what do you reckon it was? I said, well, I ain't got a clue, you know. He said, well, let's get the dogs and go out there and see if they'll trail it. So we loaded up three coon dogs, Joe and Dusty and Lightning. I remember well, raised them. And we took them out there and we turned them loose right there, and they just boy, man, they hit right there and took off right through them tracks. And we was shining a lot of them dogs were running, and we'd look at those tracks and they had fell in the mud, you know, fell in, but they were still probably 12 to 15 inches of track left in it, you know. It's a pretty good sized track, even though the mud kind of fell in. And them dogs, they just woof out through there, and they went about 150 yards out there and they baited. Daddy said, well, they bait that darn thing, whatever it is. So we struck we had to use a more carbide light, so we struck one back up. After we looked at them tracks, we pulled them out, figured them on a big race. Well, we struck up them carbide lights and jumped the ditch. We got out there about 30 yards going toward them, and they had it bayed, and they just had it bayed, and all of a sudden one of them hollered, and man heard a commotion, and here they come back toward us, and Dad said, something's after them. And it passed them, run right past us, all of them jumped in the back of the truck. And I said, well, what do you think? Dad said, well, let's get the heck out of here. So we jumped in the truck and took off back to the house. Now, this is a long story. A lot of people have heard all kinds of stories. But anything that run off a pack of hounds, like that did, and peeled one of them up a little bit, and they went and jumped in the back of the truck. I've seen coyotes and wolves running back, but I've never seen anything running back any faster and any worse than that. I don't have a lot more of this story to tell you. Just what do you think it was? You know, I've seen things before that, you know, like I saw a young coon one time and a hoot owl, I think, trying to catch it, come across the road, and the coon was running, and the hoot owl was on top of him, waving, you know, swinging his, waving his wings, trying to hover on that coon. Well, it could have kind of looked like someone running across the road or something if you hadn't knew what you're looking at. And, you know, seen some things, shadows and stuff you could think looked like someone or something. But even if it was, even if you'd have seen something and it, you know, just made you think that's what made the tracks and what whipped all them coon dogs. Coon dogs ain't scared of anything, not the ones I was around. You can't scare coon dogs hardly. And So, you know, like I said, it's, what, I mean, you tell me. What do you think it was? Daddy told me not to tell anybody, and I didn't, but one person. And I told Pete Sullivan, he like laughed me out of the country, so I didn't tell this story 30, 40 years, really. But anyway, you know, you got any suggestions, you can call me and ask me, and tell me what you think, but I ain't got a clue.
You're listening to Spring River Chronicle. Audio on the go.
District 80 in Review by Linda Collins Smith. Read by Kent Lepley.
First National Banking Company. Get checking that pays with Super Plus Checking at FNBC.
Help for keeping cool this summer. The 4th of July holiday is marked with festivities, family fun, and good food for most of us in the natural state. However, as you know, it also ushers in the peak of heat and humidity for the Arkansas summer. Those triple-digit temperatures are conducive to cooling off in one of the state's beautiful lakes or rivers, but they can also be dangerous, especially for the elderly, the very young, and those with chronic conditions. On average, 10 people die every year in our state from heat-related causes. Health officials urge folks to schedule any outside activities for the coolest parts of the day. Even the healthiest of individuals can become susceptible when out in the sun and high humidity. Drink plenty of water, of course, and know the symptoms of heat stroke. If you stop sweating, experience cramping, nausea, or dizziness, these can be signs of heat exhaustion. Unfortunately, for those without air conditioning, even heading indoors is no escape from the heat. There are, however, energy assistant programs that can help. The Arkansas Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program, LIHEAP, Summer Cooling Initiative begins July 11th. It helps qualifying families ensure their utilities don't get turned off during the hot summer months. Funded by a $36 million block grant from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the LIHEAP program offers both emergency and regular assistance payments. The regular assistance program offers a one-time payment which can be from $50 to $300 and is usually made within 35 days for qualified applicants. The crisis program is available to those who received a shutoff notice and are within a week of having their electricity disconnected. This can be a payment of up to $700. To qualify for assistance from either program, families and individuals must meet the income eligibility level, which is 60% of the state's median income. For a family of 4, that's $33,957 a year, or $2,829 a month. Eligibility is determined using your previous month's income. To apply, visit www.acaaa.org to find your local community action agency. LIHEAP offers similar assistance during winter months. Combined, the programs helped more than 60,000 Arkansans last year. We've still got plenty of hot summer days left to weather. With a little help, they can be safe and happy ones for everyone in our community.
You're listening to Spring River Chronicle. Audio on the go.
From the Front by Sergeant First Class Michael Eaton. Read by Kent Lepley.
First National Banking Company. Get checking that pays with Super Plus Checking at FNBC.
As Independence Day comes and goes, I'm reminded of our nation's history and the men and women who helped shape the clay that is the American way of life today. I'm speaking about our nation's heroes, but the term heroes itself is based on each person's perception of what constitutes a hero. Ask yourself to define hero in your own terms. What comes to mind? A service member, both past and present? A politician shaping policy to improve the blue-collar standard of living? The firefighter, police officer, or other emergency services folks who save lives and risk their own almost on a daily basis. These are all good and great candidates for the moniker, but it seems quite finite to me. Being a service member myself, I don't feel I have earned the name or the honor of being placed on such a pedestal. That is not to say that there are not any service members who have. Many of my brothers and sisters have more than earned the honor through much sacrifice, and some even more so by making the ultimate sacrifice. But there are other heroes in my definition that foot the bill. These other heroes I speak of are more often unsung and often overlooked. In my opinion, this other category of heroes includes those that molded and shaped the youth that constitutes the majority of our armed forces today. It also encompasses those young adults that under extreme hardships and life lessons managed to raise that same youth to become those patriots, politicians, policemen, firemen, and EMS personnel. I'm speaking of our nation's teachers, role models, and single parents. Each of us had to start somewhere and be taught to love, learn, and respect things around us. In my case, I was born into a broken home. My father left when I was very young, and my mother was still in school. We didn't have much, but what we had, she taught me to cherish and take care of it. To give you some frame of reference, I was raised in a little 14 by 80 foot 2-bedroom trailer without air conditioning. My closet and drawers for my clothes were built into the wall about 2 feet from the long side of my twin-size bed that I slept on till I was 13 years old. I didn't have many toys, so I learned to build the toys and many other things I wanted from things I did have around me. For my birthday one year, I got a small plastic toolbox from the local dollar store with a 200-yard roll of aluminum foil and 4 different colors of duct tape inside. From that, I built anything my mind could dream up for toys to play with, and my mother hated cleaning the little pieces out of the carpet, but it was the best gift ever to me. I grew up without a dedicated father figure, but that void was filled with a very tight-knit family bond. I had uncles, great-uncles, and a grandfather who taught me from their wisdom of many years of farm life and small-town values. With all that behind me as my foundation for life, I have excelled in the face of many adversities through the ability and agility that was taught to me from all my previous mentors, parents, and family. They made me not only the soldier I am today, but the man I have become. I will never be able to thank them properly for all they gave me and the wealth of knowledge that was passed to me. I can only hope to do the same for my own children, which I am sure is exactly the way they approached raising me. So the next time you think about what you consider a hero, take a hard look around. When you see that school teacher who comes in early and stays late to help the child who may be struggling to understand, imagine the impact he or she is having on the future president of the United States. When you see that family group helping fill the shoes of a lost set of parents for a young child after already raising their own, imagine what sense of responsibility and selfless service they are teaching that young firefighter or policeman. When you see that single mom working 2 jobs and finishing college to keep her children fed and clothed, imagine what sacrifice she is making for that future soldier, airman, or Marine. I know what sacrifices they've made personally. I'm a product of the each and every one. The teachers, the close families, and that single mother who sacrificed almost everything to ensure I was taken care of. My name is Sergeant First Class Michael A. Eaton, and I want to tell everyone that these are my heroes. Thank you, Mom, for all you've done for me and are still doing. Till next time, from the front, take care and God bless. Happy 4th of July to all.
You're listening to Spring River Chronicle. Audio on the go.
Man on the Run by Thomas Estes, read by Kent Lepley.
First National Banking Company. Get checking that pays with Super Plus Checking at FNBC.
Deputy Gary Mitchell was dispatched to a residence in Evening Shade on July 1st at approximately 1:30 p.m. where he found 2 men getting into a pickup truck. Deputy Mitchell asked for identification from both men. One of the men told Deputy Mitchell that he had to get his ID from inside the residence, but when he took more time than he should have, needed to retrieve his identification, Deputy Mitchell secured the first subject, who was identified as Robert Pollard of Poughkeepsie, and approached the residence. It was then that Deputy Mitchell noticed that a window at the rear of the residence was open and spotted the man, who then fled through the forest near the home. Deputy Mitchell was able to catch the fleeing suspect, who then began to fight Deputy Mitchell. Mitchell used his taser several times on the suspect, who attempted to take it away from the deputy. Mitchell was then struck several times in the head by the suspect, who was then able to escape. Search dogs, as well as the Department of Corrections, were called to the area to search for the suspect. The suspect was later identified as John W. Smith, who has an outstanding warrant for his arrest out of Augusta, Arkansas. Sheriff Counts spoke with Smith several times via cell phone in an attempt to get him to surrender to authorities. Smith is still at large. If you have any information about this dangerous fugitive, call the Sharp County Sheriff's Department at 870-994-7329.
You're listening to Spring River Chronicle. Audio on the go.
From Firefighting to a New Library by Thomas Estes. Read by Kent Lepley.
First National Banking Company. Get checking that pays with Super Plus Checking at FNBC.
On Tuesday, June 28th, the Ash Flat City Council held a special meeting to vote on two resolutions to finalize plans for a city library. Plans to convert the lion's share of the Ash Flat Fire Department headquarters into a library were finalized in a special meeting of the Ash Flat City Council. The plans are presented to the council by architect Larry Bronson, who would convert and update approximately 60% of the Ash Flat Fire Department into a library. According to Bronson, the project would entail a complete interior gut of the portion of the facility slated for use as a library and remodeling of the front of the building. The library would have two restrooms, a meeting room, a circulation desk, a children's library that will take up approximately 25% of the facility, and other standard library facilities. All told, the Ash Flat Library would be about 4,200 square feet. The library project will leave the Ash Flat Fire Department with one bay and sleeping quarters. The City Council plans to use the facility as a substation and build a new facility at a later date. The first resolution passed by the Ash Flat City Council on June 28th accepted architect Larry Bronson's recommendation to go with the Precision Plus construction of Horseshoe Bend. At press time, this decision was awaiting concurrences from White River Planning and Development and the USDA Rural Development. This resolution formally made the plans to develop and build a public library. The second resolution passed by the Ash Flat City Council was to borrow $50,000 from First National Banking Company at a rate of 4% per annum in order to pay for the project. Both votes passed unanimously, with all council members present voting in favor of the resolution.
You're listening to Spring River Chronicle. Audio on the go.
Senate in Review from Senator Missy Urban, read by Kent Lepley.
Sponsored by First National Banking Company. Get checking that pays with Super Plus Checking at FNBC.
Citizen legislators draw from local business experience. Most of the 35 members of the Arkansas Senate have experience running their own businesses. Arkansas has a citizen legislature. That means lawmakers have full-time jobs in their hometowns if they are not retired, and they come to the state capitol on a part-time basis. 5 senators are active in farming or ranching. 1 is a pharmacist. 1 is a funeral director. 1 operates a pest control business. 1 is an accountant. 1 is a financial advisor. 1 has an equipment rental business. 1 has a car dealership. And 2 senators are in insurance. Several senators have interest in real estate, either in developing land, managing real estate, or as a broker. 7 of the senators are attorneys, including 1 who is a retired judge and former prosecutor. 7 other senators have experience in teaching. Another has been a school superintendent, and another has a child care center. The senators who are retired or former teachers have worked in K through 12 and in higher education. They worked in small, rural schools as well as in the largest urban school districts in Arkansas. One senator is a retired land surveyor. One senator owns a radio station. Another is an engineer for a railroad company. One senator recently retired after 44 years in the state police, where he had risen to the rank of captain. One of the senators is an executive for a community foundation which awards grants and offers financial services to local charities. Another senator's career has been in organizations that serve people with developmental disabilities. One senator used to manage a surgical clinic. Of the 35 senators, 8 are women and 4 are African American. 20 are Democrats, 15 are Republicans. The oldest member of the Senate is 74 and the youngest is 31. In odd-numbered years, during regular sessions of the legislature, they spend about 3 consecutive months working at the Capitol in Little Rock. In even-numbered years, they spend a month in Little Rock for fiscal sessions, which are mainly limited to appropriation bills that authorize spending by state agencies. Regular sessions generally last from early January to late March or early April. There's no set schedule, and the state constitution only mandates that a regular session lasts for a minimum of 60 days. The legislature may extend a regular session beyond 60 days. Fiscal sessions begin in early February and last a minimum of 30 days. Under the Constitution, they may not be extended to more than 45 days. The rest of the year, legislators only come to Little Rock occasionally for committee meetings. The frequency depends on which committees they serve on. For example, the Legislative Joint Auditing Committee and the Legislative Council meet once a month. Other interim committees, such as Insurance and Commerce and Judiciary, don't meet as often. In the interim between sessions, the legislature cannot officially vote to enact a law or approve a budget. The value of interim meetings is that they allow lawmakers to stay current on state government issues. In the fall, before regular sessions, the frequency of interim meetings picks up noticeably when the legislature schedules budget hearings. A legislator, whether a senator or a member of the House of Representatives, receives a salary from the state of $15,869 a year. That amount is set in the state constitution.
You're listening to Spring River Chronicle. Audio on the go.
Teens pull driver from burning truck by Thomas Estes, read by Kent Lepley.
First National Banking Company. Get checking their pays with Super Plus Checking at FNBC.
A cement truck owned by R&R Ready Mix was traveling south on Highway 175 North, approaching U.S. Highway 63 when the truck's brakes overheated. According to Thomas McNaughton, an eyewitness, as the cement truck came over the hill, he smoked his brakes out. When the driver came to US 63, he attempted to turn left toward Jonesboro. According to Chief Ernie Rose of the Hardy Police Department, quote, as the driver made that turn, the truck went up on 2 wheels on its right side and it went into a slide. The cement truck then crossed the highway and flipped over on its top and landed in the ditch on its left side with the roof of the cab caved in, the driver trapped. It was so loud, says McNaughton, recalling the accident. McNaughton and his friend Matthew Miles were just getting gas at the nearby Flash Market when the accident occurred. McNaughton, 15, and Miles, 19, and a third man were the first to reach the driver. According to McNaughton, Matt was talking to him, then the fire started. Chief Rose explains that leaking diesel from the engine leaked onto the still blistering brakes and ignited. McNaughton and Miles broke the back glass of the cab using a pry bar, and another man carried the driver to a safe, shady spot. By the time first responders arrived on the scene, the truck was still smoking, but the fire was out. The driver, Barry Gann, was at the time in and out of consciousness, and he knew his name and where he was, all of which was a good sign. According to Chief Rose, Gann was airlifted to Cox South Emergency and Trauma Center. According to Chief Rose, everybody just worked together, as usually happens in this community. Everybody jumps in and helps, and probably saved this man by putting the fire out as fast as they did, and again, getting him away from the truck, getting him to a safe zone.
You're listening to Spring River Chronicle. Audio on the go.
Thunder on Thunderbird recap by Jack Lowe, read by Kent Lepley.
First National Banking Company. Get checking their pays with Super Plus Checking at FNBC.
The 4th of July is come and gone. All I can say is, wow! Now that was a true celebration of our nation's independence. For the people that attended the Thunder on Thunderbird Festival and celebration in Cherokee Village, they enjoyed great music, great food, and a fireworks show second to none over beautiful Lake Thunderbird. The day started with a couple of nice rain showers that cooled things down and brought people out to the festival in droves. As the weather heated up, so did the festival, with Backflash taking the stage and Lauren Gray belting out Fleetwood Mac Dreams and other classic rock tunes that had the crowd on their feet and clapping. It was definitely a triple threat day on stage, with Backflash, Haywire, and Stillwater Hardy playing back to back to back. Folks, it don't get any better than that. And the beauty of it all was, admission was free. There were 4 times as many vendors as last year, and every kind of good fair food you could think of. Kids were running and playing, bouncing in the bounce houses, riding the FNBC train. Moms and dads listened to the great music, having fun dunking people in the dunk tank. People were laughing and enjoying the party with friends. Almost everybody was wearing patriotic shirts or hats, red, white, and blue face paint. It was fantastic. This was the vision I had several years ago when I founded Thunder. People and families getting together in our community and celebrating our freedom together. And then, if that wasn't enough, people migrated toward Lake Thunderbird for the Cherokee Village Business Association Boat Parade. The boats were all decorated with different patriotic themes and lined up behind the Thunderbird Queen touring the lake, while people were cheering and clapping all along the shoreline as the boats passed. First place went to the Bronsons. Second place was Marcia Wright. And taking the 3rd place trophy was the Dr. Bill Curzon boat. All the entries were excellent and showed their patriotism. As the boat parade wound down and people started to gather and claim their prime spots for the grand finale, the fireworks, from the south came 2 helicopters skimming the treetops and putting on a 20-minute air show. These professionals put on a spectacular show over Lake Thunderbird that had people gasping for air and cheering them on from every dock, boat, balcony, parking lot, and spectator area in the Lake Thunderbird vicinity. These guys were obviously very good at what they do, and that's fly helicopters. They definitely brought some thunder of their own to the celebration, and everybody loved it. The grand finale of a fantastic 4th of July celebration was, of course, the fireworks show. Air Magic Incorporated pulled out all the stops and did not disappoint the thousands watching as the show started soon after dark. The show was simulcast on 98.3 The River, and what made the music even more special were the songs relative to this community, including Cherokee People and Boondocks, Little Big Town Philip Sweet from Highland, Arkansas. The national anthem was sung by Spring River Community's own Lauren Gray in her classic, bluesy, beautiful voice, as she absolutely knocked it out of the park, which gave people chill bumps with pride as they watched the awesome display of fireworks along with the music. The fireworks show was an exclamation point on our celebration of our nation's independence and a culmination of a one-day event packed with excitement and patriotism. That's how we do it in Spring River Community. It's only gonna get better, and I'm already working on next year. Mistakes were made, but I'm putting my heart and soul into making a wonderful festival for our community and our visitors. We are still learning, and this is only the 2nd year to do this festival on the 4th. The other beautiful thing about this festival was it raised almost $5,000 for local charities. There was money donated to the Joplin Relief Effort, the Veterans Memorial in Ash Flat, and the Elks National Foundation, which incorporates local scholarships, veterans activities, drug awareness, and youth activities. I would like to thank everybody involved in making this event happen, and especially the 30-plus volunteers that took time out of their holiday to help with the festival. It literally takes a year to plan an event like this, and an army of people to help put it together and then execute the planned event. Everybody in the Spring River community should be proud of the Thunder on Thunderbird 4th of July festival and celebration and what it means to our community. See you at Thunder next year.
This is Toto. He's about a 2-year-old Norwich or Cairn Terrier. He was found in the village and he's up for adoption. He gets along with everybody here at the shelter, dogs and cats, and his adoption fee is $25 and he'll have to be spayed or neutered within 30 days. Buster is a 1 to 1.5 year old red and white Boston Terrier male. He was found loose in the village. He is up for adoption, gets along well with cats and dogs. Very quiet little dog. His adoption fee is $25 and he'll have to be spayed or neutered within 30 days.